You wear your exhaustion like a badge of honor. You tell people how busy you are, how little you've slept, how many tasks are stacked in front of you, like a wall you'll never climb. And somewhere inside, you believe this makes you important, valuable, worthy of respect. But if a samurai from feudal Japan could see the way you live, rushing from meeting to meeting, drowning in notifications, or calling yourself productive while your mind scatters in 1,000 directions, he would not admire you. He would be disgusted. Not because you work hard, but because you have mistaken motion for purpose, noise for discipline, and exhaustion for achievement. This is not about romanticizing the past. It's about understanding something we've forgotten, that being busy is not the same as being present, that speed is not the same as direction, and that a life spent reacting is not a life at all. The modern problème, we live in a culture that worships busyness. If you're not overwhelmed, you're not trying hard enough. If your calendar isn't packed, you must be lazy. If you take time to think, to breathe, to simply be, you're falling behind. We celebrate people who work 80-hour weeks. We admire the entrepreneur who sleeps 4 hours and answers emails at midnight. We've built an entire identity around the idea that more is better, more tasks, more meetings, more productivity hacks, more side hustles. And yet, we are more anxious than ever, more distracted, more disconnected from the work we claim to care about. We glorify the grind, but we've forgotten to ask, what are we grinding toward? Most of us don't know. We just know we have to keep moving, keep doing, keep proving to ourselves and everyone else that we matter because we're busy. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Busyness is often just a form of avoidance. It's easier to fill your day with tasks than to sit with the question of whether those tasks actually matter. It's easier to stay distracted than to confront the possibility that you're moving in circles. We've confused activity with accomplishment, and in doing so, we've lost something essential, something the samurai understood deeply. The historical mirror. The samurai did not glorify busyness. In feudal Japan, the warrior class lived by a code called Bushido, the way of the warrior. It was not just about combat. It was a philosophy of life, and at its core was a single principle: intentionality. A samurai did not act for the sake of action. He did not fill his days with meaningless tasks to feel productive. Every movement, every decision, every moment was deliberate, purposeful, aligned with something larger than himself. When a samurai trained, he did not train carelessly. He repeated a single strike 1,000 times, not to check it off a list, but to perfect it, to embody it, to make it an extension of his being. When he sat in meditation, he did not multitask. He did not scroll. He did not let his mind wander to tomorrow's obligations. He was present, fully, completely, because presence was not a luxury, it was a necessity. In Zen Buddhism, which deeply influenced samurai culture, there is a concept called mushin, no mind. It refers to a state of total clarity, no distraction, no hesitation, no inner noise, just pure focused awareness. This was not about being calm for the sake of calmness. It was about effectiveness. A distracted warrior is a dead warrior. A scattered mind cannot respond to the moment. And in the samurai's world, the moment was everything. He did not live in the past, replaying old failures. He did not live in the future, anxious about what might happen. He lived now, because now was the only place where action existed. And so when he fought with absolute presence. When he served his lord, he served with absolute loyalty. When he sat in stillness, he sat in stillness completely. There was no room for half-hearted effort, no room for distraction, no room for the kind of frantic, unfocused busyness that defines modern life. Because the samurai understood something we've forgotten, that depth beats speed, that mastery requires focus, and that a life of constant motion is not a life of power, it's a life of chaos. The insight section. So what separates the samurai's mindset from ours? It's not just about discipline, though discipline was central. It's about what that discipline was aimed at. Modern productivity culture tells us to do more, optimize more, squeeze more out of every hour. We measure our worth by output, by how many things we can check off a list. by how little time we waste. But the samurai didn't measure his worth by quantity. He measured it by quality, by honor, by whether his actions aligned with his principles. He wasn't trying to do everything. He was trying to do the right thing, and he was willing to do it slowly, carefully, with full attention. This is where Zen philosophy enters. Zen teaches that true mastery comes not from accumulation, but from elimination. Not from doing more, but from doing less, better. There's a famous story about a Zen master and a student. The student asks, "Master, how do I achieve enlightenment?" The master replies, "Chop wood, carry water." The student is confused. "That's it? Just chop wood and carry water?" The master smiles. Before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. The point is not what you do, it's how you do it. Are you present? Are you aware? Or are you rushing through, already thinking about the next task? The samurai applied this to everything. To sword practice, to tea ceremony, to writing calligraphy. Each act was a meditation, each moment a practice in presence. And this is what we've lost. We don't practice presence. We practice distraction. We don't focus on one thing. We fragment our attention across 10. We don't sit with discomfort. We numb it with busyness. And then we wonder why we feel empty, why success feels hollow, why despite doing so much, we feel like we're accomplishing so little. Because we're not really doing anything. We're just reacting, constantly, endlessly. The samurai would see this and recognize it immediately. A life without center, without purpose, without discipline. Not because we don't work hard, but because we work without awareness. We move without direction. We fill our lives, but we do not live them. That's the reality check. Now, let's be clear. The samurai's life was not a utopia. It was brutal, violent, bound by rigid hierarchy and expectation. Many samurai lived and died without choice, serving lords they did not choose, fighting wars they did not start. This is not an argument to return to feudal Japan. It's not even an argument to adopt every aspect of Bushido. But it is an argument to recognize what they understood that we don't. That a meaningful life is not built on busyness. It's built on presence, on purpose, on the courage to choose what matters and ignore what doesn't. The samurai's world was harsh, but within that harshness, he cultivated something we rarely cultivate today: inner discipline. A center that could not be shaken by external chaos. He knew he could not control the world, but he could control himself. His mind, his actions, his response. And that was enough. We, on the other hand, have more freedom than any generation in history. More choices, more opportunities, and yet we feel powerless, overwhelmed, trapped. Not because we have too little freedom, but because we don't know what to do with it. The philosophical reflection. There's a Zen proverb. You should sit in meditation for 20 minutes a day. Unless you're too busy, then you should sit for an hour. It sounds paradoxical, but it's not. When you feel overwhelmed, that's when you need stillness most. Not to escape, but to see clearly. To remember what actually matters. The samurai practiced this daily. Not because he had more time than you, but because he understood that time without awareness is wasted time. You can spend 12 hours working and accomplish nothing of substance, or you can spend 2 hours in deep focused effort and create something real. The difference is not time, it's presence, and presence is a choice. Every moment you decide, am I here, or am I somewhere else? Most of us are somewhere else. We're in the past replaying conversations, we're in the future worrying about deadlines, we're in our phones scrolling through other people's lives, but we're not here, not now. Not in the only moment that actually exists. The samurai knew this, and he trained himself to return, again and again, to this breath, this step, this strike, not because it was easy, but because it was necessary. The closing message. So here's the question you should ask yourself. If a samurai could see your life, not just your calendar, but the way you move through your days, what would he see? Would he see someone who acts with purpose? Or someone who reacts out of habit? Would he see focus or fragmentation? Would he see a warrior walking a path or someone running in circles calling it progress? You don't need to become a samurai. You don't need to meditate for hours or renounce modern life. But you do need to reclaim something: your attention, your time, Your awareness. You need to stop measuring your worth by how busy you are. Stop confusing exhaustion with effort. Stop filling your life and start living it. Because the truth is this, you will never have more time. You will never finish everything. The list will always grow. But you can choose what gets your presence. You can choose to do fewer things, better. You can choose to stop, to breathe, to see clearly. And when you do, something strange will happen. You'll realize that the things you thought were urgent weren't. The noise you thought you needed, you didn't. The speed you thought defined you was just distraction. And in that stillness, you'll find what the samurai always knew, that a life of purpose is not built in a rush. It's built one deliberate moment at a time. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel and don't forget to like so we can reach more people. Also share your thoughts in the comments.